So today's class is Mindful Monday. So the reason I often start standing, not always, is because feedback has been that standing and stretching can be quite effective before we come to lying. So I'm just going to invite you to stand by lifting and rolling the shoulders back, turning the head to the left, turning the head to the right, and coming back to the center. Reach the right arm up, breathe out and turn the head to the left. Breathe in as you bring your head back to the center, and breathe out, lowering your right arm. And breathing in, snake your left arm up. Breathe out, turn to the right, turn your head to the right. Breathe in, bring your head back to the center. And breathe out, lower your left arm. Lift and roll the shoulders. Raise both arms up. Stretch the fingers so that the thumb goes behind you and the little finger goes in front. And then clasp the hands and reverse the palms upwards. To one side, I'm going to my left, doesn't matter. Come to the center and breathing out a lateral stretch to the right. Come to the center. Just turn a little bit to the left. Come to the center and turn a little bit to the right. And come to the center. And then lift the heels off the ground, testing your balance. And breathing out, lower your heels and lower your hands to shoulder height. If that feels too strong under the arms, just subtly bend the elbows and breathing out, turn the head to the left. Breathing into the center with the head. And breathing out, turn the head to the right. Bring the head back to the center. Lower your hands to the waist and try that again. Breathing in, turning the head to the left. Come to the center. And breathing out, turn the head to the right. And come to the center. And just bend the knees. You might like to have your feet slightly wider and feel the abdominal control come on. You can play with bringing your bottom behind you. That might be easier. And then pressing the feet down, coming up to standing. And lower the shoulders. And then raise the right arm. Circle your wrists in one direction. And circle the wrists in the other direction. And lower the arms. Lower the right arm. Raise the left arm. Circle your wrists in one direction. And then circle the wrists in the other direction. And lower the left arm. Lift and roll the shoulders. And stepping the feet out a little bit. Come to this very familiar swaying from side to side. You can lift the heel if you want to. Optional. And then gently start to slow the sway down. Come to standstill, to stillness. Bring your feet slightly in. Breathing in, breathing out. Bring the hands to the heart center. Circle the hands up, palms touch. Breathe. Bring the hands down through the center. Bend the knees, your elbows are already bent. And place the hands on the shins. Breathing in, lengthening from tailbone to top of the head. Breathing out, softening elbows and knees. Breathing in, lengthening. And stay here as you breathe out. Press the feet into the ground and roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing. Raising the arms up, stretching up. Breathing out, lower the hands back down alongside you. And again, bringing the hands to the heart center, pressing the palms together, circling the hands up, palms touch. Bring the palms through the center, soften the knees, bend the elbows, hands on the shins. Breathing in, lengthening along the tailbone. Breathe out, soften the knees, soften the elbows. Breathe in, lengthen from tailbone to the top of the head, chin is in, slightly back of the neck is long. Stay here as you breathe out. And breathing in, press the feet into the ground and roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing, raising the hands up, stretching the fingers. Lower the hands. Bring the hands to the heart center, palms together. And then we're going to start the mindfulness practice by coming to lying on the ground, stretching out the legs almost in Shavasana. At this change of the season in September, or any change of season, it's often stiffness in the joints that show up. I don't know why, it's kind of fairly recognised that the joint seems to reflect the change of season because the elements represented in us, so like Vata element is more air, so one element will come into dominance more, and as we come into the winter, or even though this is a lovely day today, the damp and the coolness of the autumnal weather as it comes in will have an effect on our body. So of course the temperature has an effect on our body, and as I said, any season change tends to reflect and show up in the joints, and that then means that we tend to have a little bit of stiffness that we might not normally do. So just come to lying in Shavasana and coming along the mat. Just extend one heel and relax it. And then extend the other heel. So that will mean that your heel is going away from you and you're stretching out one side and relax. Extend the first heel and relax it. And then extend the other heel. So you're almost stretching out from the hip and along one side, and then relax. And then extend the right heel and bending the right elbow, stretch the right arm up above you, resting the back of the right hand on the ground. You can bend at the elbow if that's easier for you. And as we did standing up, let the head turn to the left away from the outstretched right arm. And stay here for an in and an out breath. When you're ready, bring your head back to the center and lower your right arm and release and relax the right leg. Extend the left heel, bend the left elbow and extend the left arm up above you. Back of the hand rests on the ground. Your elbow can be bent to reflect how easily you want to stretch out onto your arm. Breathing out, turn your head to the right. Stay here for an in and an out breath. When you're ready, bring the head back to the center. And breathing out, lower your left arm back down alongside you and relax and release your left heel, your left foot. And then cross your right leg over your left ankle, right ankle over the left. Raise both arms up and hold one wrist I tend to hold my right hand holds my left wrist, but just feel what works for you and just explore going slightly to one side with both hands and then slightly to the other side. Come back to the centre, lower your arms back down alongside you and uncross your ankles. Just sway your big toes from side to side for a moment. And then cross your left ankle over your right. Bending both elbows, raise your arms up above you. And again, hold one wrist with the other hand and just go to one side. One side will feel intuitive and the other side will feel counterintuitive. Come to the centre and then go to the other side, which effectively will be like a crescent moon stretching you out laterally. Come to the centre, lower your arms and uncross your ankles. And then bend your knees, feet are hip width apart. Hands or palms down alongside you, or you might like to rest your hands on your abdomen, which will open out onto your elbows. But we're just going to start with a pelvic tilt. So that's flattening the back to the floor, the lower back. And it feels as if you're going to lift up off the floor, but you don't. And then releasing, moving your tailbone towards the ground, and there's a little gap that appears under your lower back. So just explore flattening the back, and then releasing, and flattening the back, and then releasing. And then start to just gently sway the knees from side to side. And as you do this, you might feel, and it's optional, that you'd like to have your feet slightly wider apart. And then your knees will come to the centre more. You're lifting your hips off the ground. A little bit or a lot. And as you start this swaying from side to side movement, you might like to involve your head in the movement. So naturally and yogically you might move your knees to one side and the head would move in the opposite direction away from the knees. But if your head naturally goes the other way, then that's fine too. It's an intuitive, sensory, feeling, somatic movement. You're massaging across the top of your bottom, right into some acupressure points at the top of the bottom. That's really beneficial. You are allowing the body to very safely rotate at the spinal level, and that is rebalancing for the spine. Your neck is also moving, which involves both the brain hemispheres rebalancing and the thyroid and parathyroid glands being balanced, and you're, again, on a simplistic level, moving your neck. You're also allowing the weight of the head to be supported by the ground, and that releases the body from having to hold the head upright. It's quite a weight, the head. It's something between 7 and 10 pounds. So you can really begin to relax and get into this movement. And then coming to the centre, just breathing in and out. And keeping your right leg where it is, but feel free to adjust it to being comfortable. Hug your left knee into your chest. Keep holding the left knee. And you'll find again that as you relax into this pose, that the knee might come slightly further in. You might like to explore circling your knee, but this time I'm going to invite you, rather than keeping it a straight circle, to make it slightly more challenging, and move your knee while you're holding it in a small figure of 8. So you'll find that you'll naturally move your figure of 8 in one direction, and it will reflect how you write normally, but it also starts to reflect your brain patterns. If this isn't going to totally mess your mind, it tends to, with me, reverse your figure of 8, so that you're almost doing it backwards for you. And just notice how quickly you get into a muddle, or you don't. I got into a muddle on the very first reverse 8. I naturally defaulted back to the original movement. So again, it reflects the brain patterns, which side is more dominant than the other. And hugging the left knee into the chest, just dropping your hands to underneath your left thigh, and extending your left foot up to the ceiling. You can always keep a bend in your knee, and just circle your ankle in one direction, your left ankle, and then circle your left ankle in the other direction. And then flex the left heel and point the left toes a little bit, and flex the left heel and point the left toes. And then hugging the left knee into the chest once more. Just slightly rock on your pelvis from side to side, and you'll find that your knees just drift slightly from side to side. And then open your left knee to the left and place your left ankle on top of your right knee, your right thigh rather, hands either on the abdomen or palms down, and continue that swaying of both knees from side to side. And with your hands giving you a little bit of support, you've got the option to sway the knees and lift the hips, from alternate hips, a lot or a little bit. Again, it's absolutely a choice of what you want to do. And again, you've got the option to involve your head in the swaying as well, whether you move it away from the direction of the knees or towards the knees, your choice. And then gently come back to the centre and hug the left knee into the chest, supporting it while you place your left foot back onto the ground. Hands either palms down on the ground or on the abdomen as you sway gently from side to side. And then picking your right knee up, hugging your right knee into the chest. Just enjoy the Apanasana. Apana is moving the Apana energy. When we stand and we sway from side to side, we're moving all 5 energies, and the foundational energy residing in the lower part of the lower abdominal area downwards through to the feet is the Apana energy. And asana is the yogic Sanskrit for a pose. So this then becomes Apanasana. It's very logical, but you've got to know what Apana means and asana. And then just very gently holding your right knee, the invitation is to make that figure of 8 as you circle your knee in a shape of 8. And again, that 8 can be horizontal, or I'm using it vertically as you would write it on a page. But again, either option is fine. And you can start with your figure of 8 to make your eights small or quite large, because you're being supported on the floor and your hand is holding your knee. And then the invitation is optional to reverse your figure of 8, which I find incredibly difficult. I start and then it goes all wrong. So again, it reflects the brain patterns, which is all very fascinating. And it's a movement for the hip health as well. Very gentle, and you're not putting undue pressure on the hip that you might do in poses like pigeon. And then very gently hugging the right knee into the chest, dropping the hands underneath to support the right thigh as you raise the right leg to the ceiling. You can keep a bend in the knee and just circle your right ankle a few times in one direction. And then circle the right ankle a few times in the other direction. And extend the right heel and sort of point the right toes, sort of equating to don't stress or strain or give yourself cramp. Extending the right heel and then just toes up towards the ceiling. And then just very gently bend the right knee into the chest again, and supporting the right knee with your hands as you open the right knee to the right and rest your right ankle on top of your left thigh. And your hands can come either to resting on the abdomen or palms down on the floor as you just sway both knees from side to side, lifting alternate hips off the ground. The head can stay still or it can move in whatever direction you like. Your body is being supported by the earth, and as such, the body is not being asked at this stage to engage muscles that it might otherwise need to engage to keep you upright, and so it can relax a little bit more into the movement. And again, as you sway your knees from side to side, maybe bring your head into the movement as well. You can just lift your hips off the ground, one hip and then the other, and you can sway your knees a little bit or a lot down towards the earth. It's up to you. And then coming to the center, hugging the right knee into the chest, hugging the left knee into the chest, so now both knees are hugged into the chest. Keeping the knees sort of together, but you can have a gap if that feels comfortable, but then move the knees in, both knees in the same direction together, so you're making a circle and you're circling around the base of your lower spine, really massaging at the base of the lower spine. Both knees move in a circle together. And then of course, once you, again, you'll note you naturally, with your mind, move in one direction. So I tend to move to the right or clockwise, and then whichever direction you've chosen, circle around in the opposite direction. And again, note how the mind dictates the direction of the movement and which side is dominant, which, again, it's just an observation. There's no right or wrong, but we tend to favour one side over the other. And then hug both knees into the chest. Still hold both knees as they drift away to arm's length. Hug both knees into the chest. Both arms drift away to arm's length. Both arms, knees into the chest. I said arms, didn't I? Both knees away. And hug both knees into the chest. And both knees away. And then come to either roll to the side or place your feet on the ground and roll to the side. We're going to be coming up, however works for you, to a seated position. So in the mindfulness series, we might come to hands and knees, but we've got a sore knee here in the studio, so we're not going to come to hands and knees, and we're going to be coming to a cross-legged position. If your knees are dodgy in that respect, then I think both of you are fine. Then come to feet straight out. But we're going to come to our cat-cow by sitting, holding either the knees or just below the knees, breathing in, lifting up, and breathing out, rounding, chin comes to the chest. That's activating the vagus nerve so it becomes calming for the nervous system. Breathe in, sitting up, and breathing out, chin to chest. And breathing in, sitting up, breathing out, chin to chest. And breathing in, and breathing out, chin to chest. Come to a seated position. Slide your left hand out towards the left. You can even come down to the left elbow, that's up to you. And then bending the right elbow, opening to the side, stretching over to the left. Look either straight ahead or down at the mat and feel the stretch on the right side. Tummy comes in, perineum engages slightly. Press your hand or elbow down on the left side to bring you upright and to lower your hand. And then slide your right hand out, bend the left elbow and come over to the right. You're on your hand, right hand or your right elbow. Just let the stretch. You can just open the elbow upwards to the sky, but head-wise, perhaps look straight ahead or down, no strain in the neck. And then tummy and perineum engage slightly, about 10% of your total capacity. Press your hand down and then come up. Turn your head to the left as you breathe in, head to the right as you breathe out. Head to the left as you breathe in, head to the right as you breathe out. And come back to the center. Now, bearing in mind knee issues, come to, however it works for you, to I would say via hands and knees, but we're going to come to a sort of forward bend, downward dog. So again, Annie, however it suits you, so that you're not compromising your knees. Tucking the toes. I'm going to come via a downward dog, a soft dog, so knees are bent, feet are hip width apart, swaying from side to side, and then walking the dog as you sway, bending one knee and bending the other knee. So this is an inversion, very rejuvenating, but then very gently and gradually walking your hands to your feet to your hands, softening the knees, and just enjoying the stretch of the lower back as the knees are bent. And then as you press the feet into the ground, we're going to be rolling up very gradually to standing. And then when you get to standing, carry on to raise your hands gently. I'm going to invite you to hook your thumbs and press the feet down, either lifting the chin or lifting the chin a little bit more and looking up to the hands. Just again, this will depend on your neck capacity. And you almost go into a back bend and then bring the head upright and lower the hands back down alongside you. And lift and roll the shoulders. And we're coming into a modification of Warrior One. As you step your left foot forward, find your balance. If this means stepping your left foot out slightly to the edge of the mat, that's fine. If it means lifting your right heel when you move, that's fine. If it means making your stance, so your feet slightly closer together in the distance that they're apart, that's fine. But whatever you do, just place your hands on your hips and explore softening your left knee. I've got quite long legs, so I'm going to adjust my right foot back slightly to give me a greater stance, so that when I bend my left knee, I'm not compromising at all. Again, if that means when you bend your left knee that you like to lift your right heel, that's fine too. And then from here, just lift your hands in cactus arms. And again, you'll feel the opening at the shoulders, which is the lung meridians, softening your front left knee, and dropping the weight centrally, and then breathing in, raise the hands up. You could look ahead, you could lift your chin slightly looking up, you could look right up. This will all depend on your neck capacity. And if you really want to challenge yourself, you can bring the palms of your hands together, or even hook your thumbs, but that is harder. And then bring your head upright if you've lifted it up, lower your hands back down alongside you, and lift and roll your shoulders. I just wanted to point out that warriors are very grounding for the feet, good for osteoporosis. They're uplifting because you're lifting from the chest, and you are, again, exploring your lung capacity. You're giving space for your lungs, and then just coming back, bring ideally your left foot back to your right, but you might do it in a couple of little hops to bring your feet back. Lift and roll your shoulders, and then of course we're going to reverse by stepping the right foot forward. Find your balance. Again, as I said, if your right foot needs to go out to the edge of the mat, your left foot slightly turns out maybe. You might like to lift your left heel, which is more challenging for the balance, but it does swing you around more, so all optional. Soften your right knee and place your hands on your right waist. And just feel in this modification how the chest lifts. You're giving wonderful space for all your internal organs, where the blood is flowing through optimally, not being compressed, which we tend to do when we're sitting. And then just, again, open to cactus arms. Elbows are back a little bit to open at the shoulders. Again, this can be quite challenging. And then more challenging is to lift the arms, as little or as much as you like. That might be enough for you. You might like to look up. That will challenge your balance a bit more. You might like to bring your hands together. Again, it's just opening up and looking up. And then breathing out, lowering your arms back down alongside you, and stepping your feet back together. And just come to a swaying from side to side. So there are three warriors. They're called Virabhadrasana in Sanskrit, or the pose. And there's warrior 1, Virabhadrasana 1, which we've just done. Virabhadrasana 2 is also quite nice. And if you're thinking, what's that? Virabhadrasana 2 is this, where you go out like that. That's Virabhadrasana 2. And we'll just sway from side to side. And Virabhadrasana 3 is, I can't do it, is this, just with both hands out. That's Virabhadrasana 3. But they're all supposed to be very strengthening and grounding for you. And then very gently come to the center, lift and roll. So step your feet out into wide for you. Again, adjust if you need to. We're going to come into a variation of triangle or trikonasana. Turn your left foot in, your right foot is out. And if you drew a line from the front right heel, it should intersect at the middle of the back arch. Left hand on the waist, right hand out, look at your right fingers, and almost come backwards, then come forwards, tummy in, and just place your hand on your shin and open out. I'm hoping that's making sense. Just slide your hand down your shin to where it's comfortable. Keep your hand on your left waist. You can look forwards or down at the ground. And optionally, you can raise your arm upwards. That is triangle, but if that's too much, then it's sometimes quite nice to keep the hand on the waist. Breathing in and breathing out. It's quite a strong pose. And then tummy in. Soften your front right knee. Use your hand maybe to support you as you come up. Hands out. Bring your right foot in and reverse. So the right foot comes in 45 degrees or a little bit. Left foot goes out. Right hand goes on the waist. Come back to come forward. Feel that someone's almost pulling your hand. Tummy in and then drop your left hand to your left shin. Open out to the right with your right elbow and slide down. So if you're being absolutely classic, to show you exactly, your torso should be parallel to the ground, which means coming right down. So we're not all going to do that, but that's the classic, so that your hand's almost touching the ground. And then opening your arm up if you need to, or keep your hand on your waist. And then feel that you're lengthening from the tailbone to the top of the head, tummy's in, chin's in. You can look up or look down. And then soften your front left knee. Use your left hand to support you as you slide up. Hands open out again. Bring your left foot into the center. Drop your hands to your waist. Soften your knees and slide your hands down your legs to bring your hands or fingertips to the ground. You might like to have your feet slightly wider as you just bend into one knee and bend into the other knee, which means that you just slightly sway from side to side. And then from here, heel toe your feet in, so the heels come in, toes come in, so that the gap from your feet shortens. You're coming over into a forward bend. And then we're going to be bending the knees and coming to the ground, but lying on our tummies. Is that okay? Can you manage to lie on your tummy? Trying to take weight straight off your right. Yeah. You're down.
I'm down.
Yes. You're down. So just lying on the tummy, up on the elbows, we're in Sphinx. So feel that you can adjust your elbows to be comfortable. And notice that if you press your elbows into the ground, you naturally seem to pull yourself a millimetre forward and it stretches you at the tummy level. It's quite just gives you space at the hip and tummy level, and then release and relax. You're looking at the floor, no strain on your neck. And then just very gently tap or bang or touch the tops of your toes, your feet on the ground. So you're beginning to get into your upper lymphatic system. If you remember, Sue, you just tap your top of your feet on the ground and then just gently release and relax that. And then keeping your right elbow where it is, come slightly to the right, lift your left elbow up and slide your left hand out slightly towards the left. You can be up on your fingertips or down on your palm, and just then start to, it's a reptilian lizard movement, start to bend your elbow and just slide. This movement is odd. It comes into the somatic movement of feeling. Reptilian, so it suggests that it connects into part of our ancient brain. It's strangely satisfying, and it actually moves bits that you don't necessarily move, and you can move in any way you want to. A little bit, a lot, swirling. Just imagine yourself a lizard or whatever you are. You know, their little
feet, the bent at the elbows. And then just come back to Sphinx, both elbows on the ground. Just wobble your bottom from side to side. Jelly wobble. So people who've got back issues, this is one of the, it's called an SIS, stabilizer, sacroiliac stabilizer. And of course just lean onto your left elbow to lift up your right arm, you're bent at the right elbow. And again, just sway. You can sway a lot or a little bit. You know how lizards walk? They always bring their hands inwards. Not their hands, but when the elbow goes outwards. I don't know what you call it. Paws, something. And it's just you can move your shoulder. It's people who are very fit and who are quite stressed can often retain tension in a really difficult to get place, or under the diaphragm almost. And this kind of movement just allows you to get out of that and get into that area. And then just, you can move any way you want to. Your shoulder, it just is such a strange movement. You've got the invitation, I don't know how you feel about this, to bend up your right leg as well. That is really lizardy, but I'm not sure I like that so much, but it's just exploring different things and see how that feels. But then that's fine, come back, and then just come into a very yin yoga movement. Come back to Sphinx, and then slide both hands forward and out so that you're up very slightly. It's called seal pose. So you're on both hands are out like a star, and you're slightly lifting up. The closer the hands come to you, the more you'll lift, the lower they are, the lower down you are. And then just bring yourself back to the ground, elbows out, your head rests on your backs of your hands, or you can make fists with your hands and rest your forehead on your fists. Your knees come out slightly, and then bend your knees, soles of the feet to the ceiling, and just sway from side to side. So it's like a windscreen wiper movement, which should feel again very nice. It opens up the front of the hips. And I think it shows up bits of stiffness. But anyway, and then just lower your feet, bring your knees slightly together. And we're going to, now normally you come up via child's, so Annie, I don't know, well we're going to come up basically to sitting, to come to however you work to, but normally you would press your hands down, elbows in, come to kneeling, via kneeling to child's, but you roll to however you want to. But then, yes, just then come to seated. Yeah, I realise that you can't necessarily do that.
Not yet.
So just an extended child, but Annie's going to come to a seated position. Just take a breath in and out. In child, extended child. And then slide your hands towards you and come to sit, where we join up everyone together. And come into cobbler's pose, which is soles of the feet together. Baddha Konasana. So you can bring your thumbs to massage the insteps, the insoles of your feet. So anywhere, effectively, a layman's view on reflexology, anywhere that's stiff and sore and hurts and feels beneficial with you massaging it with your thumbs is worth doing, because if you let your thumbs guide your movement, I'm using the tops of my fingers just to press down into my tops of my feet, and that's nice. That's the upper lymphatic area, really on the insoles, the insteps is part of your digestive systems. Towards the top is your lungs, your diaphragm, down to the bottom is the lower intestine area, and sometimes it's nice to massage around the ankles. I can't remember what that is. could be lower lymphatic area, but just enjoy that. The purpose or the function of butterfly or Baddha Konasana is to open up the inner groin, which is the lower lymphatic system. And in yin yoga, it's called butterfly because you would hold your ankles and just bounce your knees up and down like butterfly wings. And the ancients believed that this distributes the energy, stagnant energy around the body, and it stops you stagnating in the lower area. So that's that belief. And then just supporting underneath your knees to open your legs into a wide leg V. Just if you want to lift the flesh out from under your bottom, please do. Just lightly touch your hands to either side of you just to make sure that you've got support. And then just lifting your body up, tummy in slightly, perineum slightly goes up and in. Slide your hands down your legs. You might stop at your shins. Press your hands into your shins slightly, or if you don't like holding your shins outside or inside your legs, lengthen your spine, tailbone to top of the head, and then just slide down a little bit more, having a sense of length in your lower back. I've got long arms, so it's fairly easy for me to slide right the way down and to hold my big toes, or to hold the outside of the feet. But just come to whatever works for you in a wide leg forward bend. So the back of the neck is long, the chin is into the chest. Calming for the nervous system. If ever you have a headache, this or child's pose kind of brings the blood to the head, but without giving you what I call a head rush. It's quite calming. And actually, if you've got a headache, you can sit at a table, or if you're traveling, put your head on the table, or on a chair. You can put a big bolster on your or bag or a coat, roll a coat up on your lap to lift your back up, to just bring you forward and rest with your elbows on the bag or the table and your head in your hands. And then just very, very gently slide your hands up. Support your legs if you need to bring your feet together. They're still out in front of you. Just touch your hands to either side of you. And then bring your left hand to your right thigh. Right hand behind. Breathing in, lengthen the body, and breathing out, turn a little bit or a lot to the right. The head is the last thing to turn. Breathing in, lengthen, breathing out, turn. And then coming to the other side. Right hand goes to the outside of the left thigh. I have to think here. Left hand goes behind. Breathing in, lengthen. Breathing out, turn slightly. Breathing in, lengthen the body, and breathing out, turn. Turning of the head is almost immaterial. It's a turning all the way down the body. Come back to the centre, and just to compensate for that turning, just slide your hands down to, say, your shins. Just take a couple of breaths. Coming forward, chin to chest. When you've done a turn or a twist or rotation, it's nice to rebalance the spine. And then just very gently slide your hands up, bend your knees, and we come just for a moment or two to rest or relax, hugging the knees into the chest. Lying on the back, hug both knees into the chest. Just gently rock from side to side. A slight, very slight, not rotation even, just a slight side to side movement. Your head can join in if it needs to. And then just very gently bring your feet to the ground, knees are still up. Hands either rest on the abdomen or palms down, and you just gently sway from side to side with your knees. Your head can join in. And then just for a few seconds, we can rest, and you can choose to either rest in classic Shavasana, where you lie on the ground and relax, feet out a little bit, palms up, or if you prefer, especially if you've got a bad back, to have your knees bent, you can have your feet to the edge of the mat and let the knees drop in to touch one another, hands either on the abdomen or palms down on the floor, palms up. Choose just for a few moments to rest and let the body absorb the movement that we've done. So there's nothing to do now. Just bring your attention to your feet and check that your feet are relaxed. The big toes, second toes, third, fourth and little toes relaxed. Tops of the feet and soles of the feet relax. The heels and the ankles, the calves, the shins, the knees, around the tops of the knees and underneath the knees. Relax. Tops of the thighs, behind the backs of the thighs. The pelvis and the hips. Relaxing on the floor. Moving from the lower abdomen through to the chest, all the way up, across to the collarbones and the shoulders, down the tops of the arms, the elbows, inside the elbows and the backs of the elbows, the forearms, wrists, hands, backs of the hands and palms, thumbs, second fingers, third, fourth and little fingers, and space beyond the fingers. Lower spine, along the vertebra, between the shoulder blades, back of the neck, base of the skull, ears and the space between the ears, top of the head and crown, forehead, eyebrows. Relax the eyes and the sockets, across the temples and down the jaw, the cheekbones, to the chin and the throat, up to the lower lip, the teeth and the upper lip, the base of the nostrils, and travel along up to the third eye, that's the forehead, the dent, little between the eyebrows, centre of the forehead. And then just breathe in, and imagine breathing into the centre of the forehead. And as you breathe out, let the air drift down through the body, taking with it anything you don't want today, and leaving through the soles of the feet. Breathing in to the centre of the head, and breathing out, letting go of any thoughts, niggles, emotions that aren't serving you today, and let them drift through to the soles of the feet. And now pick a colour, any colour, and breathing in through the centre of the head, the third eye. Your air is coloured with the colour of your choice, and it swirls around, cleaning and cleansing as it drifts down through the body, leaving your organs pink, glistening and gleaming as it moves down and leaves through the soles of the feet, being reabsorbed back into the earth. And take a moment to have a thought for the day, maybe a thought for the week, and that can include you. It can include someone close to you. It can include someone who's no longer here. And just have your thought wishing that person well, or whatever you want your thought to be. That's called Sankalpa. And the invitation is to just think of that thought a couple of times and then let that thought drift away. Your intention has been set for the day. And breathing in once more your coloured air to the centre of the forehead, and just let the air, the colour expand both inside and outside, wrapping you inside and out, and breathing out as you once more let everything drift down, cleaning and cleansing. Your whole body inside and out is gleaming, glistening with health and vitality, well-being, and moving through the soles of the feet. And you can either stay where you are and just drift off, or if you want to come back to the class and to finish the class, then perhaps hugging your knees into your chest or rolling from side to side, doing whatever you need to come back to the room, to the centre. If you're going to come up, perhaps roll to the side, to the right maybe, extending your arm like rolling onto a pillow. And remembering that the body takes time to adjust from lying to sitting. And so taking the time so as it's not disturb the peace that we've generated. Coming to a seated position. Bringing the hands to the chest and bringing the chin to the chest. To have a very lovely day ahead.